All righty, so it is 6:01. Thank you guys for attending the special budget workshop for the city council of the city of Shoreacres. Bernie, can you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Jennings, absent. Mayor Pro Tem.
Present.
Alderman Greason.
Present.
Alderman Bell.
Present.
Alderman Hill.
Present.
Alderman Mitchell.
Present.
Got it right tonight. So, Chuck.
All righty, so 2.0 is public hearing and public comments. 2.1, public comments. This is the opportunity for the public to address the council. Time is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Comments are to be directed to the city council, and dialogue with the audience is not prohibited. Council members are prohibited by law from discussing or deliberating items not specifically identified on this. I'm going to say agenda because it got cut off.
It got cut off.
Who'd like to start?
Okay, I'm sorry. Council members, Ed Ybarra, 145 Shady Lawn, and I want to thank you for being up here. I would like to speak about one of the things that's important to me, and I think it's, I believe it's probably to everybody's, it's important everybody's here, that there could be some discussions later on about the salary of the police officers, and I would be concerned if you guys would consider a lower pay than what they're at right now. Don't know exact numbers, but I think it's important to understand that these gentlemen have dedicated their lives and to this community, and they are.
You mean a higher pay?
I'm sorry, did I say it wrong?
Lower pay.
I don't want their pay to be lowered.
Okay.
Okay, that's. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Wow.
That one. I was like,
Because they've already, have this livelihood that they're in with taking their kids to college schools and stuff like that, and they've already adjusted to this. So I would not want for that to happen to our officers. Plus, they know our citizens. They know where the trouble is. They get invited to cook-offs and stuff like that. This is a special town, and I'm thankful for that. If you guys want to consider something for new officers, I think that would be appropriate, but please don't affect their livelihoods right now. And I think that's very important for us. And I think most of you would agree on that, but I see that some numbers may be introduced based upon some numbers that are really not fair and equitable for our police officers. And I think that's a point to recognize as you guys look at these numbers. And I am thankful that you guys have been diligent on working on these numbers. Last night, there were some things that were, some comments that were made that were really unfair because no one got to respond to the mayor. The mayor has done a great job, no doubt about that. But there's been some points that have been made that were kind of out of line and didn't get an opportunity to response. And that is the deal about some of the numbers that occurred over the last 2 years. And we, a couple of us, Tammy and myself, have been involved in arguing and making a point about some of the mismanagement that was occurring here. And I believe you guys may know about it now. But so Troy trusted in someone to do these numbers and prepare these numbers based upon the mayor having presented this individual as a very capable and very knowledgeable person in the government business, and it turned out not to be so. But Troy, being a trusted person, relied on her information and things were being done. Well, Troy's ultimately responsible. Okay, I'm not going to take that away from him, but he trusted somebody else to get these numbers. So it's not fair just to throw Troy under the bus. That being said, I just don't want, as some of these decisions are being made, that they reflect poor management on Troy's part. There is some certain questions about pay for the police department, and you guys are going to hash that out, okay? And that's what's important for us. And I'm very thankful that I have been maybe considered for the city manager position. I think it's important for me to be in that position, and I would I thought about the mayor position. That's what people had asked me a long time ago to run for the mayor's position. Well, in this type of framework, the mayor is really a ceremonial position. He really has no powers. He's not supposed to have any powers. However, that was not the case with the current mayor, Jennings. He invoked a lot of things as the city manager and the mayor, which I believe are not legal. Section 2.81 does not designate the mayor to be able to be a city manager. That language is about the hierarchical structure of authority. Okay, so if you had a city manager position, then the city manager would be the authority. He would delegate below him. If we had a city mayor, strong mayor, then the mayor would delegate authority underneath it. We have a city manager position. So that mayor, our mayor interpreted that language in 2.81 to say that he could take the position of city manager, which is nowhere near true, because in that second sentence of that, it says that he or she may delegate those authorities to the other offices, like public offices and stuff like that. More importantly, state law forbids that from happening. And I'm telling you this because I like to research stuff. The state law says incompatibility. You cannot have a position of the mayor and supervise. You cannot be the mayor and the city manager because one supervises the other. Okay, so when those two are combined, then there's the incompatibility, and that's a conflict of issue, and that is in the doctrines of incompatibility. So I would not want to believe that that is a good position to have in the future. So I think that we will get an opinion later on in our work through the city. But anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for your time.
Sorry.
Hi, Mary Becker. I live at 202 Fairfield. And what I want to talk about tonight is this is a budget hearing, and I want to talk about the condition of the parks, primarily Circle Park. I hadn't been there in a long time because I don't have any young kids anymore, but even older adults like to swing on swings and enjoy parks. I couldn't believe how the park has become such an eyesore. Starting with the grasses, I know that we're going to a different company, but it's not just a matter of not being mowed in a couple of weeks. Also, the weeds around there are horrible. At the playground equipment, some of it is falling apart. It looks like there was a whole lot of new equipment put in maybe, I don't know, what, 5 years ago? I don't know when that was, this newer equipment. But the swings, which is one of the reasons why people really want to go to a park, is to go swing. There is one swing for a child, and there is one bucket swing for a toddler. And the brackets on those are rusting through. The other ones have already rusted through, and that's the reason why there's only one adult swing and one bucket swing. It is abysmal, and it's also dangerous. I think that the equipment has to be certified every year or inspected every year to make sure that it's adequate. And if so, I don't believe that that's being done, because I don't believe it would pass. And there's also some of smaller equipment that the hinges, it's falling apart. It needs to be rebolted. And I think I had heard that money was going to be cut away from the park, that it was going to be decreased, the spending for the park, but that can't happen. That can't happen with the parks looking like that. I do believe that if we have a city manager that is experienced with grant writing, that maybe we can get a grant to improve that park, or maybe appeal to the port to help us with that. But it can't exist the way it is right now and attract people to come play at that park. It's a beautiful day. There should have been children out there playing, and there was no one out there. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Just one second.
I always have something to say. I don't even have a piece of paper here. It's don't go.
No, that's gonna be.
Got 5 minutes. My name is Tammy Hynudson, 1006 Shoreacres Boulevard. I am here to see what's gonna happen with this budget because I'm not interested in my taxes going up, right? I love the police department. I think they deserve good money. The park is not my concern, not anything else is not my concern. I don't want my taxes to go up because they're already high as it is for what I get and where I live at this point. I am upset with how things went last night with the mayor, that you couldn't go back, but it did give me a good feeling that what I've been fighting for since April and since February, when all this stuff started, that I knew something was wrong in the city. I still cannot understand how you have a line of credit or a loan, whichever. I would have to see what that was and why you're not certified. Financials are not certified once a year to prove that the bank hasn't recalled the note. Or will the bank recall the note? And what do we have that is up against it as collateral? The whole city, not the city. If you look at the city in Lamarck, they're all going through all kinds of things, and now the news is involved. And it's only going to take a moment to find out that we're in disarray unless we get this under control. I would encourage the city council as a group to try to come to an agreement and not be so divided because it's been so divided. But I do believe that if one person has done wrong and the other person has done wrong, you got to clean the situation up. Regardless of what your feelings are or how you feel, you have to. It's not a personal situation. Bring facts to the table. If one says this and one says that, bring it to the table and put it out there. That's the only way it can be, because you can love both the city manager and the mayor, but if something has done wrong in lieu of the city, you've got to do it as fairly as the same way. If they didn't want to be here, I still go back to when they had the situation. And I feel like that if you can't bring facts to the table, then it's just a guilty situation too. If you can bring facts and you prove one to the other, then and one can stay, one can go, whatever. But I think it needs to be an equal decision, right? Everybody deserves to stay working. Everybody deserves to do whatever. I mean, I've been called a bully since February, but everything I've had to say has came to play. If I could have stuck a piece of paper underneath this, Ed would owe me $1,000 right now because I made that bet with him to say, guess what? Facts are facts. I've researched it and I know that's what I do for a living. I'm still not quite sure that the 3 years has been like that because we still have a bank note and it hasn't been recalled. So something's not adding up there to me either. So I would search that out 100%. But I encourage everybody to try to come to an agreement and not be so worried. When Ed was put into office, or when Ed was asked to do a resume, I know 100% that he is not 100% qualified, but we entrusted Troy for 7 years to do it when he had no skills in the city management whatsoever. So having a chance is one. If anything, Ed's going to know he's going to be held accountable even more at the rate he's going, just to give it a try to help to get things cleared up and get to where we need to be. The Margaritaville, whatever it may be. I'm done.
Should have said more, I can think about it. I still got 49 seconds. I'm good.
Alrighty, so we're gonna go to 3.0 business. Did you have something for public comments?
No, she,
Okay.
No, I was,
So we're gonna go to 3.0 business, 3.1 discussion of budget of fiscal year 2025 to 2026. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
that's it.
I'm gonna leave the floor open for however you guys would like to discuss this.
I mean, you've looked at it pretty good.
I have. I've done a lot of number crunching. Based on where we're at now with David resigning, still not having a city manager in place. One of the biggest cost factors on this budget is the combination of a police chief and a city manager. And how we go forward with that. When Troy had the job, his hourly rate was at about $50 an hour. And then we had a lot of expenses past year. I'm not aware of all of them, but the numbers to me don't lie. So if we still had Troy in that job, and we did no CapEx spending this coming year, we would have to raise taxes probably about 2%. That's just where the numbers are. There's no getting around that, okay? So, now that sounds, 2%, 10%, whatever, that sounds like a lot, but I don't want to mislead you. Our no new revenue tax rate, current rate is 0.85. I think that's dollars per hundred. That's an evaluation on your property taxes, okay? So if we went up 2%, that would raise it to around 0.87, okay? The trigger point that requires voter approval for a tax rate increase is a 0.96132. So that's kind of the best case scenario is if you still have a city manager who is also the head of the police department, okay? And then you get caught up on the expenses that we had this year and the fact that our ambulance service has gone up, the things that we've had to outsource and pay for, which what I know about those things, they're reasonable. They're not out of line with what an expectation would be. The worst case is, and some of the CapEx that I've heard that we need the worst is the repairs to lift station 2 plus 5 manhole covers that need to be sealed to prevent migration of flood water, rainwater into the sewer system, which causes it, pump station 2 and that system to back up and overflow out into the street, into people's yards, whatever. So the worst case is if we keep we've been calling it a part-time police chief, but 32 hours is minimum hours required to be full-time. And I think that's what's actually required by state law, my current understanding. So if we maintain that, plus we hire a city manager, I don't believe you're going to get a city manager that is properly qualified for much less than what Mr. Gant, which I bring that up, but don't throw nothing at me because I know that's my benchmark. Okay, we had somebody who was willing to take the job for a set rate, and we decided not to go that rate. But that set a benchmark in my mind of what it's going to cost us to get somebody of that at least equivalent capability. We might get someone cheaper, I don't know. But to get this budget with the deadline, we've got to plan for least case, worst case, or somewhere in between. So I've always been one to under promise and over deliver. So I would tend to take the worst case scenario. So if you take the worst case scenario of having that position done by two people now instead of one, you spend the money, I've heard an estimate of about 70,000 to fix that sewer issue with lift station 2. If you do that, then you're gonna have to increase your tax rate by 13, a little over 13%.
But
Which
that's
puts
seven-
you, which puts you right at the level where you would have to get voter approval. Now, we don't necessarily have to do that 70,000 this year. Maybe we do half of it.
Well, the 70,000 wasn't based on getting the quotes. It was using IUO or whoever our current water person is that does everything in the city. I know it can be done cheaper. So I had requested the mayor to get quotes, but obviously, with the new shift, I will go ahead and man up and get the quotes plus some, so that we can see it can be done on a more budget friendly.
Well, absolutely. I would hope that that's the case, that we can. I mean, I'm just going by the numbers that I've been told so far. So what I'd like to do, if not this meeting, then the very next one, we need to decide how we're gonna go forward. I mean, that's kind of the range, the way it was, 2% and, close, even if you don't do, even if you got that stuff done for free, you're still gonna be at about a 10% increase to have both those positions. Just by the numbers. That would, 10% would still be below the trigger point for voter approval, but it's getting pretty close to it. So, close enough that I would almost recommend putting it out to vote anyway. You're 2/1000ths away from triggering a vote, and I think maybe people might want to have a say in it. Oh, I'll be silent, everybody.
That's what he does for a living. That's why it's good.
So what happens when you get a no vote? What happens then?
But you know what, I'm not familiar enough, you might know that a little more than I do, because I'm not familiar enough with this job or this, what I've gotten myself into to answer the So, I would think that you gotta go back to the drawing board and relook at your budget, and, if the voters say no, then I would think that caps the amount of money that you got, and I would assume that we have to go back and do some looking harder at what we have, how we gotta do. So, and, me personally, I'd be surprised if the voters gave you a yes. I think I would vote no.
Can we ask questions?
No.
In budget meetings,
Technically, okay.
budget meetings, you can. This is a budget meeting, correct?
This is a budget meeting.
Yes, on a budget meeting, you can. I checked on it last.
I know the last time we were told no.
Yes, I double checked on it.
Okay.
On a budget meeting, we can ask questions regarding the budget, not address anything outside of.
Okay.
It has to be what's on the agenda.
Yeah.
We've never had like attendance for one of these, so that's why it's like. To be honest, but
Yeah,
yeah.
the last budget, she said no, so we're.
But I double checked and found out, yes, you can. Not only to reverse the budget.
So I will lay out a couple more things that I've looked into. I'm not, don't get me wrong when I say this, I'm not advocating for this. I'm not, but I think everybody deserves to know what all of the options are. I mean, the police department for Shoreacres is probably just about the biggest segment of our budget, period. So by Texas law, we can, there's two things we can do. We don't have to have a police chief. We could assign police chief duties to one of the patrol officers or a sergeant. And they would have to be qualified as a police chief, just like Mr. Gant would have had to be in, or like Troy was. But that's one way to save money, okay? Another is, this city is not required to have a police department. If we didn't have one, county would provide law enforcement for free for this city. Or the city could contract with LaPorte or the county and constable's office to provide the police services and patrols and police. And I have no idea what that costs. It would be like outsourcing the accounting and other things that we do. And I would prefer to keep our police department, but I think it would be unfair if I didn't put that out there for everybody, because not everybody, I had no clue about that until I got this job and started looking into things, so.
So I know that, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I know that
No,
Bayou
go ahead.
Vista, they pay extremely low salaries for their officers. They have 4 or 5 open positions currently that they're having to pay the county $60 an hour to run their calls for them. Again, I don't know, I haven't done that research about the county being able to run for free, and I don't know what LaPorte would charge us. But I know if we hire officers as an extra job to come run our calls, it's in that $60 an hour range. And again, not advocating either way, just laying some facts out.
Well, I would think that if you weren't paying someone to provide those services, that you would just be at
The
the
county
mercy of the county.
The county would pick
I
it up.
think if you call the county and you need 911, they're gonna respond, but how well are they gonna respond to
Maybe a few
Shoreacres?
minutes.
It might, yeah. You might want to have your own 911 protection more readily available, so I don't know.
Right.
So like I said, my preference is that we find a way to keep it going in-house.
What would that workload add if they were to do away, or y'all were to do away with chief of police? What workload and burden would that add to one of the on-duty or highest ranking officer? Can you speak to that or not? You banished to
Well,
silence.
just so you know, my job, what I have to do. I have to put up schedules for all their officers. I have to do open records requests. I have to run reports to the DA's office and video to the DA's office. I have to do the property room management. I have to do vehicle maintenance. I do pretty much everything, and include cover shifts when officers can't be available. So adding another thing to me or anybody else is going to be a lot. And that's just truth. I mean,
To me, it takes whatever officer put that on, it takes him out of the field. So we no longer have somebody that's in the field or managing the field. You know, you have the chief that has to do all of the paperwork to qualify. Make sure all his officers are qualified and everything. The other thing is if you do like some of the other cities and have a lower pay for your police officers, you get a higher turnover.
Yes.
We all know that. So we have to try to do a balancing act between that. Right now, we have one of the safer cities around here. And that's why we all like it. And if we don't really want to destroy that, in my opinion, but you know, we've got to look at the budget and how we handle it this year. And, you know, I was talking to everybody before about tax, you know, as long as you live, you're going to get taxed higher than what you.
sorry for that.
So it's inevitable. It's going to go up just because all the prices on everything's going up. And trying to juggle those around is a real big problem right now. Just like now, if we had a city manager to go out and just look at the city and see what needs to be done, I think what we would come back with is a whole lot more that we need to add to the budget. That's kind of what I'm afraid of. But we've tried to look at everything now and clean up everything. We still have money in the parks for equipment. That's not to say we got enough in there to buy a new set. We really need a new set of equipment down there. I went to a meeting with the Port Alliance, and we added on there to do some things in the park down there. Now, whether they picked that as one of their, you know, at one time, that's how we got the pavilion. So we may wind up with some grants on that as far as the support, but that's kind of a long shot. We need to look maybe at the equipment, see if we can find somebody that can donate some money to that, or maybe have a fundraiser. I don't know, to get the equipment, new equipment down there. And I'm like you, I think we've got to better define what we want the city manager to do in our city. And I've always liked having a police chief that took care of his business and took care of everything. Looked at people coming in, chasing people if they're not, somebody reports it. And I think we've had that ever since we've been here, at least ever since I've been here. So I think we're going to have to take a good look. Right now, this budget that we have here, we've been reviewing it for a couple of days now. But every time we go through it, there's something that, you look at it and have a problem. Now, as far as the overall getting everything squared away within the city, if you let that go too long, and it has, apparently, and not a whole lot of people knew about it. I didn't.
Is there a way for the police that you have on force now, you take out the chief of police, let's just say he doesn't stay because it's been a back and forth. Would it better benefit to bring on another officer? Because if he's overloaded right now, then he'll probably be overloaded. But as a chief of police being in the rotation to where he gives relief, then it would be, because if he's overloaded now with a chief, what does it look like all the way across? Is it out there more?
It substantially went up simply because we have a part-time chief.
Right.
Now, when it was a full-time chief, he assisted the chief in getting those duties. Correct me if I'm wrong.
But if you're paying a chief, he could be in rotation and give you more.
And that's the way it was when he was full-time. Troy was full-time. So
He was in rotation at that point?
no, it's not really rotation.
Right.
He takes on the responsibilities that he can't get to make sure that he's supervising the field and getting everybody lined out in the field.
Just because I've heard from past officers before the issues of the strain of the position. And so that's why I didn't know if it would benefit more if there was an active chief in rotation and still they all split the duties more to add another for that. That's the only reason I asked.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to, do we want to qualify everybody to
Right.
do that?
Well, just one person for sure,
But between the chief and the sergeant, that's where those put and take goes.
Yeah, I think they have like 2 years to certify for that, right?
Certified what?
For
Chief.
chief.
I'm.
Yeah, up to 2 years to qualify.
May I say something? We're not asking, and we talked, Chief talked about it. We're not asking for a pay raise. We're not paying, we just don't want to pay decrease, obviously. Who does? But one thing that Mayor Jennings had an idea, I guess, they put it out to all of us, was back in June, he asked us if we want city insurance or for the city to give us X amount of dollars to get our own private insurance. And the amount they were throwing it out there was $1,200 a month. With me, with any city employee, if I add my wife on it, that's $1,000 a month out of my check. And I just seen, I looked it up, I did some numbers, and according to the police department's insurance, health insurance, and all that stuff, it's on $108,000. But for everybody, that's including Diane and Bernie, it's right at $84,000. I don't know if you guys want to look at that, but I think that's good for me. I know that would be good for me. I would like to get my own private insurance. And if you could become city manager, I hope to look into that.
If you go on their plan, then you get a tax break, even a little bit more by going on a company instead of being outsourced or whatever. You get taken out, it helps with your taxes. And you would have to really look at that to help you out to make sure that if you, besides taking a stipend versus on their policy too. But you have a good point in that situation.
That was one of the things that was going to be on the priority list for the next city manager,
Right.
to get the insurance straightened out.
Right.
But, you know, it's one of those things where you've got to, I know in a lot of the companies in my past experience, we wound up having to change insurance about every 6 months or year, seem like, you know.
Right.
Because you get one deal, somebody'd offer you a better deal. And then once you got the deal, they'd raise the rates. So the next deal, you know how that goes.
It depends on the pool of people that you pull out. This is what I do for a living. I have 300 employees that we do, and I have 22 on overhead. In the insurance, if you have 10, it's just like your kids driving a car. If they wreck it, that policy can go. If you have someone with cancer, your insurance is gonna go up. But if you go on a different plan that they know to where it's not utilized in a pool of people, even where your payroll is being done, you can go through that and sub it out. Like the city's payroll can go on a company that has a bigger plan and you get a better insurance policy because it's on a group of 2,000 or 3,000, a million, whatever at that point. I mean, there's ideas out there. I could help you with it. I can show you, you know, it's
I've worked on some
expertise.
of those myself.
Right,
The problem is the bigger the pool of people you have, the better the price you get.
right, right. But you can also outsource. Like you've been outsourcing, right? If you outsourced your payroll to a larger firm, you'll get a larger insurance plan. I got that. We got that plan now. And I can show you where it can save. I would help you. I'd be willing to help you at no expense.
It would be helpful if you just have the information, you could
Right,
email me,
right,
something like
I will.
that. I'll have to look at it.
right, well,
Are y'all required to go through municipal league?
TML.
TML.
TML,
TML.
because there's a lot of things that I guess they had some benefits for you and stuff like that. But is that a requirement that you get insurance through them?
I don't know for sure. That was something that the mayor knew or Troy may have known,
Okay.
but I haven't worked with the TML that much.
Is that y'all's coverage? Yep. The TML? Okay. And I'm just curious, because if you open it to other folks, you may maybe able to get a better deal. Because, yeah, that's a smaller number of people when you think about the Texas municipal league.
I don't think we're required to have to go through them.
Yeah.
You know, no insurance no company that I know of that does one specific one of requirements.
Yes, sir.
It depends on if you're a self-funded company or if you are go out for traditional insurance. And self-funded is
We'll never.
not a
be
good
self-funded.
situation. Exactly. But we don't know what TML is either. If they put you in a pool and if you use it, and you'd have to look at it for sure, but.
It'd be interesting to see what the ones are now. I haven't looked at any in
Right,
a few years.
yeah. It's tough out there right now because when people use it, it's expensive.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
Should never let us talk. Should get that real.
The only thing that I am dead set on this budget is their wages. Based on what Jennings has put here for the proposed 2025 wages. And in the budget, it's the exact same, but yet, the court salary is up and the administrative went down due to, not having a city manager, but I definitely am not okay with these numbers.
Just so you know, the numbers I was spouting were based on the current rates for all the police officers. I don't know, it's not.
Not the lesser rates.
So it is not this in the green here. You're going based
It
on,
is not. Matter of fact, if you look here, Chuck, I moved that over here out of the way and then I put in the numbers that were there for the
Yeah.
last budget.
this
So
someone's-
all of those, I mean, we're still gonna have to raise
It's
taxes.
19 with 19, but
It is based on
the separate
maintaining
one.
those wages because I am in full agreement that that shouldn't happen.
if we, go ahead.
Alderman Hill, how did we get to this number? Where's the other expenses exploding that's causing us to consider a new tax rate? Is there some other building or repairs or, because we know that
That's.
if we maintain the officer's salary in those numbers, we should equate to this past year's numbers, right? So there's gotta be something in there that's.
See, the two main things that went up.
Yes.
Fire protection went up for the city of LaPorte. The ambulance service that we all like now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have to pay some for it. All of that went up. So we went through and tried to cut whatever we could. And the budget that we currently have right now does not cut the police officer's pay. It was on the table as an option, but it was not an option. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. How much did each, the fire department and EMS go up overall? I heard there was, went from like 100 to 150 or something like 175.
I think it was 180 for EMS.
The number they said last meeting was 190. And the reason was because it started in February instead of when the fiscal year starts in October. So when it, this year, we now get the whole year. So that increased $72,000, 15%. So now you have $252,000 that you have to provide. That money's got to come from somewhere.
Well, when you think about EMS and fire, that number is very reasonable because otherwise you would have all the employment items that would attach to it, insurance and other things, equipment and so on. So it doesn't fit. If we had that, we would at least need to have maybe 6 people, EMS or fire, because of the hours and stuff like that.
If we had to staff it ourselves.
Yeah.
You know,
So I'm okay with that, but I just wanted to know how it jumped up. It makes sense now. We couldn't afford that to do it in-house
that's right.
if we had that. So,
That's correct.
but I do like the fire department and the EMS. They've been incredible response time. We experienced it ourselves. So it's kind of it's a very hard battle to want to get rid of it. Yeah.
And I think what we wanted to try to do in the budget was to keep a good police department. We're going to have to work out the chief and so forth. We need to get a city manager in so we can start looking at, we've got a long list of things, whoever we pick is going to have to start on right away. Some of them are going to be putting together budgets for things that are falling apart, the station one, things like that. Can we do it or can we not do it? We've got some street paving that we need to do. Right now, we can't do it because we want to hold up to keep it from the building to tearing the next road up we put down.
Yeah.
And that's been like that for years. Things have been
Fair-
less
fair
not
field.
looked at and taken care of. And
That's one of the reasons we had to put out some stuff to get it done now.
I get it. But
It's like your house. You're gonna wait so long and then it's a mess.
right. I get that. I think just my issue was it was not an approved thing, even though it was an emergency. It wasn't like approved.
It wasn't handled correctly
Right. That's exactly right.
So back to
anyhow.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
the question on the fire section, the budget, the cost, it's gone from 152,000 to 252,000. So it's about 100,000.
Wow.
Then fire protection from 123 to 180.
EMS, I'm saying.
EMS. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mr. Hill, why would that be $100,000 jump?
I'm guessing that's what they
We're
charge.
in need.
Well, and I think we also had to renew our contract with them.
Yeah, I think we did renew this year.
Wow.
So that's a big impact to
Yeah.
why tax rates are gonna have to go up. It's just a question of what else, I'm assuming there's nothing that we can do about those costs at this point, unless we want to go out for bids for EMS service.
I don't need to roll my eyes, but no, that has been hell to deal with. We're gonna stay. So based on your budget that you have, what is the price difference between the balanced budget and then your budget of keeping the police department at the same rate and then adding?
Well, the calculations I was looking at is just, I can plug in whatever scenario you want to look at, and it'll tell us what the tax rate increase or decrease would be.
Well, I question, so we have the text pool account. And I know that money's there for emergencies, this, that, and the other, but if it was, say, like a $70,000 or $80,000 to pull out of savings, just until we figure out what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
I mean, we can always amend and
We
edit
think
the
we've got
budget.
X amount of dollars as unencumbered in the bank, the savings account, right, so to speak. But do we really? I mean, we got 3 years of unbalanced books. Do we really have that much, unencumbered? I don't know. But I would hope that we'll know once we get all the accounting cleared up. I would think we want to be just as frugal as we can until we know the numbers for sure.
Yeah, and I'm not as worried about that because that's in the text pool. That's money actually transferred over to the text pool so that it will gain interest. So that money should be there. I mean,
Okay,
if it's gaining interest, it gets interest every year, then that money's there.
It's just the unknown of the books.
is that-
When there was a negative, and I mean, you said a negative million here, 2 here, 3 here, or whatever. It's just never, truly a forensic audit should be in order, a forensic audit.
That's kind of what they're doing right
Right.
now.
But it has to be a biased company of not the person that's had their hands on it, even the mayor or the city manager at that point, unbiased.
Yeah.
Tammy, I know that when he was talking about that, the million and the negative.
Right.
Was because the utility account was one of them.
Right,
And the way that we were told
right.
to enter it was incorrect.
When I
And
asked,
so,
when I asked for the 18 months worth of bank statements to be put on the website, and I went through those, there's a lot of visual there, and all you have to do is pull those bank statements and start asking what's going on. And I did some PIAs, like asking for this receipt and this receipt. It didn't look good. And there are some questions because not all of the statements are on there from any other accounts that you have, so there's no way of a trace. But a forensic
oh,
audit
yeah.
will do. This can't be something that the mayor's friend knew, Troy's friend knew. It's like you've got to split that just for anybody to be able to get their hands around it. You would think that you would want that for the whole city to start fresh. you know.
Absolutely.
So Felicia, you asked me, sometimes touch on a second. You asked what our shortfall would be. So if I go back into this calculation and I put the tax increase or decrease at zero, right? No tax increase at all. And I go in here and I put, just for example, I put Mr. Ibarra at 40,000 a year for city manager. And leave Troy at the $50.40 that he was. That puts us, and then I included in there 35,000 of CapEx, whether it be for that sewer or anything else. That puts you at a budget shortfall of right at 80,079. As well around 80,000 shortfall.
And what's that increase is somewhere around 6%. 6, 8.
Well, you would have to raise taxes to offset that shortfall. You'd have to raise taxes by about 5 to 6%. Somewhere in that, somewhere in that 6%.
I figured around 6.
When you're calculating the tax increase, it's kind of hard to visualize what it's going to cost a resident. You have a figure that.
Yeah, actually.
Per $100,000. How much is that per
Yeah,
$100,000?
okay, so at that. Let me go back to where I was. Okay, which scenario do you want to? I got 4 scenarios.
The highest one. The highest one.
Start at that one.
Start at the highest.
Shortfall of 80,300.
Go with the highest and then let us know what the lowest.
Go to the 9 points at the highest.
That was
$100,000.
2 positions, but I'll leave it at the 40,000 for city manager and let's just see what that does. Right? Bear with me a minute. You want to leave in the 70,000 CapEx? Take that out or cut it in half for this year?
Do it at 40.
40,000? He's throwing a ringer into my. Do this scenario for him, yeah.
Take some money off of Troy first.
You need more money? Yeah, you're gonna cut more money off.
Take money off of Troy's side.
Well, you know, the value, I mean, that's the other thing, the value Vista equivalency for a police chief is $36 an hour versus 50, so that cuts significant amount off if you go that route.
I saw that post and I was thinking, those are the correct numbers. They're making 90 a year. Yeah, for my guys.
Posted
My team, no, it was posted at 90.
Well, and Troy also has extra certifications for like emergency, for like hurricanes and all that come along.
That's starting too, it's now, all right, good, well.
Which, I mean, I would say that the emergency management coordinator is a full-time job on his own.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's why LaPorte has 4 of them, and they're trying to get a 5th one.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's part of the reason why Troy, a lot of times could not make, he was out of town because he was going to these meetings that we have to attend. It's a requirement, so.
Okay, so that would be about a 5.9% increase. That equates to the no new revenue tax rate is 0.8501. 5.9% increase would put it to 0.900. So it's about 10, 15 cents per 100 of evaluation. That would go up.
At the lowest.
That is based on a $40,000 city manager and a $50 an hour police chief
At 32 hours.
at 32 hours. And with 40,000 in CapEx.
And that's gonna go
So
15 cents per $100. So increase
per 100.
per 100.
What, do you have an idea of what it costs a day, I mean, a month to run the city, like the average? I mean, about what it would be an average?
You could take the total and then divide it by 12.
Okay.
Total budget.
I'm just talking about just whatever your monthly average would be for the city, just to say, we need $50,000 a month just to be operational, paying the salaries, the city, whatever it may be. All the bills, like what is it a month? I learned this only because of the other city is saying they'll be out of funds within 2 to 3 weeks and it's major. And so they said it cost them $54,000 a month to run. And so I'm just trying to figure out like, what is ours, as small as we are in comparison to what Lamar.
So our total expense budget is $2,293,000. That would be, divide that by 12 and you're $191,000 a month. Budgeted expense. Not cheap.
No, it's not.
Maybe pull my name off of that list.
What are you gonna talk about? You're gonna drive the ambulance and the fire truck. For $176,000, we can buy a fire truck and an ambulance.
When you put it that way, it's a little bit overwhelming to me because you're gonna be fighting an uphill battle to even just maintain for the next year. And then don't forget all the, I'm gonna try to say it a nice way, all the angst you're gonna get for the increase. That's not gonna be fun. So, and because people don't care about all those numbers as much as the tax rate.
How we got here.
Yeah, how we got here. And so I'm just thinking about what you're saying. And Johnny, I mean, Alderman Hill, you're putting a lot of light to these numbers, and it's a little overwhelming to understand that we're going to be on a shortfall possibly, no matter who we get. Whether it's me or some other person, somebody's gonna probably, if you guys decide to go look for somebody else, he's gonna easily want 75,000 or more. And then I don't know Troy's situation. I know he would like to stay here. I also know that his position about Bayou Vista was due to the fact that he was told that he might not have a job. But I think his heart is here. I believe that part. And so, and knowing that about Troy, if he wants to stay here, I think we would want to maintain his salary and everything like that. But then that keeps us up here on the tax burden. So that's gonna be very difficult. I don't envy your position right now, having to go through these numbers and trying to make it work.
Believe me, I've been going through them and through them and through them and looking at anything. And, no matter what you look at, you say, well, do we really need that budget in the park? Yes, we do.
Of course you do, yeah. A lot of people want that. I'm sorry to interrupt it, but we did a survey on the Watchdog page, and roughly about 70% of the people talked about the parks in our community. It's about being close to the bay and the parks and stuff like that, the trails or the bike access and stuff like that. So obviously, we're gonna have to concentrate on those. And if you don't have money for that, you're going to get a lot
Would you rather
of.
have the safety, or would you rather have a park?
I know, that's,
Not much good to have a park if you can't safely go there.
yes.
I would like to say that for a long time, a lot of the services, a lot of the things that happened around here in Shoreacres, it was based on volunteer activities. That the parks were kept up by volunteers that would get together, refurbish the equipment, and do all those kinds of things. We'd have communal garage sales, not for everybody to have a garage sale, but for everybody to come together and have one, and then have the proceeds go to the city for park equipment or for those kind of
Well, I can tell you
activities.
that, so happens, I'm also on the board of the SRA, which is actually, thankfully, been pretty quiet while all this is going on.
Let me and Ed go down.
Put this out there. If every citizen of Shore Acres joined that pier and paid the annual dues, not only would we have plenty of money for a first-class pier, but the SRA could probably take care of every park in this town.
Right.
With that kind of membership. So you're absolutely right. Citizen participation and all of
It's
that
key.
is key.
They just get tired, people get tired of the fight, and I know that Troy is favored here. Yes, but you do know that a lot of people are upset about the mayor situation, right? So when the mayor does exit, they're gonna focus on Troy because of what had been said about what happened in the city, right? Whether Troy did it or didn't do it, didn't keep up with things. The tank that was given to us by the hurricane stuff was not maintained. Why did that happen? They say, well, there's bonuses that were things. This is all hearsay, right? And that's why you got a part of the city that says annex everything to the port, save the money, save the tax, and then still be just this community. I get it. A lot of people don't want that. But what about, it's just like when times are hard, you either do cut out luxury, you don't get your hair cut, your eyelashes done, or you make a good decision or you don't cut Chuck's hair. Apparently he's been in trouble. He's still pulling his hair out. But the problem is that it's about the fact that remains the situation we're in. The mayor made a decision, made a statement one time saying that the times people aren't paying their taxes and the economy's good. No, sir, the economy is not good. Apparently, you don't know. Chevron laid off 3,500 people. Marathon is going after 2,500 people, and they did this over the phone to these people that have been there years. It is bad for people. You can't make a judgment on what them not paying their taxes or what's going on. But my thing is, it's about cutting out luxury, cutting out what you have to, going back to volunteering and donating. We have had money donated to the city, and it hadn't been taken care of either, right? And so when one leaves, there's going to be another pitfall. There's going to be another situation. They're going to say, why didn't this get taken care of when the city manager was in place, right? And I love Troy, but you have to think about this because it's coming. I hear it, the chatter. I just didn't make this stuff up on my own, right?
In one case, it was, we don't have the money.
Right, right.
And you can see why it was, we don't have the money, because nobody wanted to spend the money on, let's just wait another year. Can we wait another year?
Right.
And the wait another year got to be 5 years.
And
you're in deep trouble.
And then I heard today from a citizen out, it was like, well, I didn't spend them, Troy didn't spend the money because of the bonus, right? So I'm thinking, what in the world, so I have no way of saying that. That's just, it's not fair. And I know it seems like it's on Troy, but I hold both accountable to a degree. But we're in a situation here. And people want to retire here, but it's just things are going a different way,
Have we done any,
Have we made any
have we made
decisions?
any, have we made any moves toward?
No, but this is the best meeting I've ever been to.
Candidates for city manager.
So on next agenda, there was items that was supposed to be on Monday's agenda, yesterday's agenda, that didn't meet the deadline. So those will be put on the 22nd meeting. So that's why I requested that second meeting for.
And those items are.
I don't know if I can say all of this. I have gotten other job duties for city managers from 6 other cities.
Okay.
And we're to come together and create one that is tailored to Shoreacres
So create a job description.
for city manager,
Okay.
correct? And a whole bunch of other items that are related to the budget. So that way we can get a definite answer from Jennings if he does decide to attend that meeting.
I'm guessing Mr. Jennings is gone. I'm guessing that before that meeting, we'll probably have his resignation. I don't know that for a fact, but
He's been very selective on the emails that he's been responding to me to, so.
But at some point, you have to make a call to run this city, especially when a budget needs to be put out.
Right.
I'm
But until
still
we
talking
get a
about the bank.
resignation vote on it,
Right.
he's still on there.
I just want to make something clear, guys. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't consider me. I just wanted to offer that numbers to you, and you guys have mentioned about the skill set that y'all would like to see. There would be no hard feelings. I just thought I would be able to help out in the interim. And I'm available at anything to help you guys out if you
We
need.
appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Really do.
But I don't want you to think that I'm not that type of guy who's gonna get upset if you don't. I wasn't upset last time. And so don't even think about that. I want this city to do well and I want it to be better. And that's all that I want. Every one of you here have demonstrated that without a doubt. Okay, so I'm only here as a team player for you. But don't worry about me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
That
I
40,000.
think everybody here is, but.
I have a question on the city of LaPorte. We have 1-year contract with them, so it renews every February
For what? Which-
for city of LaPorte for the EMS.
For EMS, okay.
Does it renew every February? You said you just signed a new one.
So, but I'm not positive about that because it's usually contract from year to year. And
That would be a question for our city manager.
Yeah. Well, you think this year's gonna be hard, difficult? If LaPorte does what they do and they increase every year, it's gonna be even more difficult next year.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You
At some
just
point.
about think of it.
yeah, oh, absolutely.
Crazy.
Do we have any idea, like the thing with where you get 3 bids? Have you guys ever, and I don't, that may be a definite answer, and how much are we paying them, the water guys? Put out bids for people who do the same kind of work to see if it's up or down. And like the trash company, are they paid by the tonnage? Are they paid just a flat rate per house?
So with the,
Report gets a break. I did a lot of research in the midst of an article. Report gets a break from their recycling. Like most people, if you told them your trash will go down if you recycle, they're gonna go running. And it's another revenue source. We can save money on trash that way.
so Decker is per household.
So have you checked with any other companies to see if they work in a different way that would be?
Not budget friendly for Shoreacres budget.
But there's no break for recycling and everything else?
And, you know,
Recycling costs them.
the recycling, from what I understand, is pretty much a myth.
Yeah.
Not at all.
They want recycled stuff to be clean. And there's no way that that we can, as citizens, have clean recycle. I mean, there's always going to be something, you know, you can rinse it out, but it's not clean like they want.
There's a 4% return in Laporte on the recycled goods. It costs them money to take from recyclers to the dump, but other than that, everything at the recycle doesn't go into their cost. And they don't pay to pick it up. People come and pick it up, because if you told me I was gonna pick up, 1,000 pounds of aluminum cans, I'd go pick them up. So they have companies that pick this stuff up for free.
But they have a recycling center that you take it to.
Drop it.
They don't
They do.
have, yeah, they have a recycling center.
Correct.
And so it's not being picked up at people's home.
No. You would have to do it on a much more mass
Yeah.
scale was the point.
Yeah.
But going back to the water guys, do we have
We
Other
went
companies?
through that when we were replacing all the water lines around here. You remember when they had that bond issue and started replacing the water lines? And this is the best company that we found that responded quickly and knew what they were doing and staffed personnel that could actually do the work. We had, if you remember about that time, that was one of the things, Troy was about wore out from going and find every day. There was 2 or 3 leaks. And he was up a lot of nights with them trying to get it plugged up and so forth. And we were kind of lucky this
I
year.
heard it was Felicia doing that.
It's teamwork.
That's what I thought.
She can shed more light on that. I can't. They didn't call me anything.
Me either.
I have one question about the recycling before you get away from it. Paul and I live about 4 houses apart, 500 block and 600 block. I was out there with my neighbor one morning. We looked 2 entire blocks and counted 3 recycle bins. I said, what are we paying for them? What are we getting out of this? There was some beer cans and some cardboard boxes and some jugs and stuff. And I don't know, something didn't jive there.
What do we pay for the recycling? Do we know that number? Is that like a add-on service?
Yes, it is. It's
Yes,
not, it
yes.
wasn't very much. It was like, they pick up, they used to pick up every other week. Then they started picking up every week because people put it out the wrong week and it would sit out there and everybody was mad. So they started picking up once every week. But what you see a lot of times is you don't see a lot of people recycling stuff. That's what we're trying to allude to here. So I don't know. We do, in your garbage, you do pay for a recycling fee.
Or contract theirs out or they do their own?
They have,
A recycling center.
yeah,
No, I mean like their trash, period. Is it-
Oh, no,
Is it?
they have their own, but the recycling part of it, they have a recycling center, which, don't rat me out, don't record this part.
Too late.
Yeah, you can.
I still go to
Too late.
it, right? But they have companies that come out, oh my God, it's hard. They come out and pick up the recycling. And it's advantageous to those companies. So they don't pay for it.
But it,
Does that make sense? I mean, like a dumpster full of aluminum cans.
that's what I was gonna
tin
say. Is it
cans,
more
brown
beneficial that we
bottles.
got like a recycling roll off from Decker? That we could stage one or two in the city, that we could cut the cost of that too, where maybe we write that in the contract for every time that they're 4 months late to come talk to us at a meeting that they maybe throw in another bin and pick up a free.
Wait a minute, do you want me to carry mine down to this bin where we're gonna put it?
You come here every
If it
month
makes the
for
city
a,
budget.
city council meeting already, right?
And this I've been stressed out about.
The problem is with the bin too, that people don't care because they just toss it.
They're gonna dump everything.
They go,
Oh,
they
yeah,
do.
that's-
Now, at Deer Park, you can put glass, plastic, cardboard, all in one thing, but they have a whole center there. They have like
People watch.
17 trash cans. You
Yeah.
put it in there and go, that people don't even crush them down. They leave them full. And I get that,
The port has that one too that's over there.
but they tell you, you put your glass over here and they want you to tear it out of the bag, separate it. So I'm like, forget, I'm going to Deer Park.
It used to be
I'm
the same
out.
too, but I mean,
Yeah.
they have pretty tight rules, which I think is hilarious because of how inconsistent they are, but we can say that for another day. But I mean, even something that adheres to their rules of cans, plastic bottles and cardboard, we could, it's all gotta get thrown in one truck, might as well throw it in a bin. It's, what else can we do? If times are that tough, we gotta knuckle down. It's inconvenient for everybody.
Well, there's,
Do we know what the cost savings is?
the cost savings is
Minutes,
minor.
probably.
Yes. So that's why we left it just picking it up.
So if we cancel them and we just bring our cans every month, then we can all collect cans.
I would like to
Sorry, I'm
see
being-
increased education and get people to be more, to recycle more. Because you go down the street and you see all these cardboard boxes right next to their trash can when they could have just as easily put them in the recycle bin and put them out on the street.
Cardboard's not inside recyclable.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is, except if you leave like one packing peanut, then they don't pay.
My wife and.
This has been the best meeting that the city ever had.
It's-
Amazon boxes galore.
Yes.
They have to be like packed down, like they can't be just stacked up.
I haven't heard them say we have to be.
No, they do.
I got yelled at because I had a ton of Lego boxes that I just put to the
No, I
curb.
mean.
And they yell at you.
I got a tag on my stuff, so I had to compact it all down.
What is gonna do to make this bad? We leave like big piles of it. And I'm just like, it's 7 in the morning, I'm like, screw these guys, let them handle it, and nothing's ever left.
No, they're always
Like
nice.
ever.
Our debt service is 252,000 a year, so I'm not thinking if we got a, 50% discount on garbage, it's gonna help us all.
Well,
We gotta
that also
start
includes,
on the bigger items
Yeah.
and work your way down.
Yeah.
You said what is 250? I'm sorry.
Debt service for the bond that we had for sewer and street.
Water and sewer.
Water and sewer repairs.
Hmm.
That was a
That's-
$4.2 million bond.
We still have.
We paid 52,000 a year to your service. Pay it down.
Would it reduce our water costs at all if we used some of the well water that we are credited with?
Somewhat, the problem is, we save that for emergency use. So if something happens and City of LaPorte is down or whatever, then we can go on well water and not go on the boil water notice.
Mhm.
But we're limited because of the subsidence to, I believe, 7,000. We've got a number that we're limited to. And because at one time, they made everybody go to surface water.
Right.
Unless of emergency. And we've used that in a couple of cases for emergency and glad we had it because the port went out and they roll on boil water.
I just didn't know if that amount rolls over every year that it accumulates, or at the end of the year, if you don't use it, you lose it.
It's a status quo number. You don't want to tap
I
into.
think it is emergency. You can only use it for emergency and to keep all subsidence from getting worse. And we do have subsidence even still now in this, this gumbo clay just moves around every summer and every. Where do we go from here? I think we've looked at everything. I think what we need to do is, we're going to have another meeting, go over it. When do we have to put out the notice in the paper?
I haven't been responded back to on that.
After the end of the month, Bernie, do you know it's going to be approved for that?
Yeah, I don't, but I will find them. That's it. Are you talking about the?
The no
The
new
approval.
tax rate.
Did you know?
The tax
Think
rate
to
for
October fiscal. October 1st. I got today an email from.
October 30th or September 30th?
When you say that
September
the 250, what did you tell me it was? What did
Debt service.
Debt service was 250, how much, a month or the year?
Remain.
The year. So you included that in like the monthly run, I mean, like what the monthly,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all, that's all.
that's why,
Bob, I mean, this is not something I created. This is,
No.
everybody has a
Right.
PDF copy of the budget. I asked for it on Excel so that I could play with numbers because PDFs drive me crazy. So it was set up very well to show previous year's budgets for each line item. And then we have a column where we can play with the numbers to, for this year. And, as you increase, decrease any line item, you can see what it does with the bottom line. So
I think, I think that it's a great thing that we have you because of the millions of dollars that you've ran before. And I think you speak the truth about how things are gonna go, whether it's, we like it or whether we don't. And so you had to be held to a lot of budgets before in the past, in your work career, that I worry.
I have a question. Our building inspection, we used to pay Latney to do that. Now we have a service, right? That service is at no cost to us. They get a percentage of the inspection or the permit or whatever.
Yes.
Is that correct? So then what on page 9 of 19, what is 6367 for 32,400 for a building inspector?
I believe that's what it costs, but then if you go look at permits and stuff.
The other side comes out. Okay,
yeah, it's supposed to be
Okay.
a net zero.
correct.
I mean, every time someone calls for a permit, then we get money for
Okay.
that.
Use their fees and then it's.
I've heard that
10% Increase.
People trying to build in the city are really liking it.
That's what I heard.
That's good. So I think the next steps, I think we need to, step number one, is we need to nail down city manager and mayor and set the budget for those items, because that's, they have.
City manager and chief.
Chief of police, mayor Springs. Chief of police, so we need to.
Very expensive. Okay. We've got somebody working on what we need for a city manager.
Correct.
And what we need to do is,
We'll have a discussion. And then we'll have a vote on that item. So we'll put together the job role and then we'll vote on it as a group.
Just the job role? I mean, we don't have anyone in mind at this point, right?
Well, we have to define, so based on the job role or the duties listed, some of that is no longer needed. Like that is based whenever David Stahl was city manager. So it does need to be updated. And that is per city attorney.
And same way with the chief.
Well, the chief, I think we need to define if he's gonna be 32 hours or 40, and then figure out exactly if we're putting him under contract or what his plan of action is.
Yeah, and I would say we shouldn't put him on the contract. As a police chief, he's and only a police chief, he's an employee at will, at our pleasure, just like any of the other city employees. Contract with the city manager, yes. But you don't want, I mean, if you have a police chief who decides to leave, you don't want to have to pay him 6 months severance because you have a contract with him.
Well, that's not in the new contract. Because we're a
It was in
fire,
the last contract.
well, I had no control over
Yeah,
the last,
so-
and we didn't have any pre-warning or review before it was put into
Yeah.
motion.
But I think it's better for us, for the city, the fewer contracts we have. I mean, you need to be able to hold them accountable and run them out the door if they don't do their job. Whoever it is.
In the 2.81, it actually gives full authority to the city manager to hire and fire anybody beneath him. And he gets full discretion on all those folks. That's what 2.81 is really about, giving authority.
And that would include the police chief.
Yes, sir. The police chief is just a department and personnel under those guidelines. So that whoever the city manager is would create or dictate, and there's no contract for this police chief. It's at will, just like Mr. Hill said. And so I don't think that that's appropriate. You guys can determine the amount of money that you want to set for the budget, but hiring and fire will end up being the person who comes in city manager. And I do believe that y'all probably need to get Troy's feelings about what he wants to do, because I do believe he wants to stay. He said that the reason he was looking to go to Bio Vista is because he was unaware at the time that y'all were going to get rid of him with Ghent. And he needed a place to go before he got eliminated at that point, because he didn't know the y'all guys. So I think we should be honorable to respecting his position, you know, with reasonable costs. You know, I think the circumstances have changed. So, but the city manager would be the person who would give him, would delegate, you delegate to the city manager to offer him or keep him employed, whoever that is. And that's just, I'm going by what the state law says. Not that Troy has to have a contract. That's not, it's not necessary. Only the city manager is required to have a contract. So,
Do you agree, Felicia? I mean, do you feel, Felicia, that even another city manager, that you would get somebody that would be even at a $40,000 pay rate? I'm not talking about, I'm just saying for the situation that we're in right now, right? And even if you brought someone in, even if it was my friend here, Nathan, if you brought him in at 40,000 until a time being, because there's so many ifs, because you can't make a decision for this, you can't make a decision for that. I'm not saying that this is, it is the 100% solution. This city's in such a disarray right now. If we don't have anybody that can help you to make sense of things, it just keeps getting worse. And we're going to do another 6 months, another 6 months. You know, it's going to be difficult to find somebody at what we can afford. And then are we going to want to take the chance for the taxes to even go up higher, because the pay rate has to be high here. The pay rate has to be high for the chief of police, you know. That's what has to be taken into consideration, you know.
And I understand it. There's just steps that I'm having to take,
Right.
you know, in order for all of this to kind of mend together.
And thank you for having that for everybody instead of.
But even when you put a job description in place, you can't count 100% that what you've subcontracted out is going to be able to stay, that you can continue to pay for that. You know what I
But
mean?
I'm not giving like exact details. So like with my role, like, line locates or drive, flying the drone, like those are extra things. But if someone can just do payroll or like the basic duties, and that's kind of where we need to figure out is like, what is this cluster of stuff that needs to be? And then anything above and beyond is just an added bonus that could possibly affect, a pay raise or, additional dollars or, some perk. So that's kind of where we're needing is to figure out like what exactly we need as a city, just to, not to say just to get by, but to function. And then from there, it can morph into, if Ed was to be our new city manager, like, okay, well, now you need to learn contracts and grants and this, there would be extra stuff that would probably be thrown on your plate that we would hope, would be learned. But that's what I'm, trying to get just the cluster.
And once we ever get the budget straightened out and the book straightened out, we don't want them to get back in any bad shape like they've been, so.
I think we need a strong city manager to make sure that doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
Is there an audit in the budget? Is our accounting that is sourced out, is that something that's outsourced? Is that something that's going to continue? Or with the city manager, they have that role?
The way it's set up, I believe it's going to continue.
Right in the budget, I think
48.
short 48,000, it was 35,000 last year. Or 36.
36, 24, 25, 36, 4.
So outsource the auditing, accounting, and that includes auditing. I understand.
Gentlemen and Mayor Pro Tem, if I was to be in that running or elected or appointed to that position, I would get an audit done. I would not ever start. I want to have a new clean slate. When I did labor unions and I came in and I trusteed local unions, that was the first thing we did. Audit done, get the books in order before we transition to another team. And I would do that with this if it happened. And I would suggest that you guys would do that with whoever comes in too, because you don't want this burden over your
It's
head.
already underway. As I understand from listening to Mayor Jennings last night, the 2022-23 audit is supposed to be complete by mid-October. So that's coming up. And then as soon as that's done, then they'll start working simultaneously on the 23-24 and 24, this current 24-25, with those targeting to be done in January for 23-24 and then March next year for 24-25.
So like you said, you still don't know what it is.
Yeah. So you're unfortunately, you're 2 years behind on good and true numbers.
We still got that budget.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful that you guys recognize for this next year that you want to, hopefully in January, you'll have some good true numbers at that point. So that way you have some confidence in going into 26.
That would be our goal.
Yeah.
Get everything cleaned up. We just say we know it's right.
It's good to hear. Excellent job tonight, gentlemen, ladies. Thank you so much.
All right, so 4.0 adjournment.
Look to adjourn.
Second.
As of 7:29, we're adjourned. Oh, sorry, all in favor.
Oh.
Oops.
You can watch the video online.
Appreciate that.
Take it out.